Hello there, and tonight, political fanatics on the rampage attacking state installations across the country just hours after John Dramani Mahama was declared president-elect. It's unclear who's behind these attacks, but it's becoming a source of worry for the country and international as well as domestic election observers who say that the violence and chaos must end now. It's the reason for which we're bringing you this conversation tonight on PM Express, talking about election 2024, the collation chaos, and also the supporters of both political parties who are now, in the wake of this controversy over who's attacking the state installations and how we can, of course, put an end to post-election violence. This is your election headquarters, and we've been putting some figures to it. Why don't we get to it by talking about what we have been hearing so far across the country in terms of the incident reporting? We know, and just as I was pointing out to you earlier, that John Dramani Mahama and Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman making history there as the first female vice president of the Republic of Ghana. But this man has been there before. He is coming back to the seat of government in the next few days, of course, with the transition team already being announced. But that's not the case for today, because what we want to look at is, the tragic loss of lives which is characterizing these elections. In 2020, the sad spectacle happened within the Kintapo areas. It's appearing to be a recurrent situation now, as we can't confirm to you that at least 3 lives have been lost due to this 2024 presidential and parliamentary elections. Very sad spectacle. 3 so far. In fact, we're predicting possibly that the number may go beyond 3 because of some current issues and reports that we're hearing of, but not confirmed as of now. But if you're dealing with the source from the Ghana Police Service and the incident reporting centers that we've been working with through CSO networks, it does appear that indeed 3 persons have been lost as a result of this election. But that's not the entire picture, because if you're looking at the case nationally and looking at what's happening across the country in terms of the arrest that the Ghana Police Service has done already, as far as the incidents related to malpractices and all of the election chaos is concerned, as many as 97 arrests have been made. 97. That's the situation that the Ghana Police Service is dealing with as we speak, aside the casualties involved. But why is all of this happening? It's happening because the Electoral Commission has confirmed to us that irrespective of the fact that John Dramani Mahama is indeed the president-elect and has won by an overwhelming majority, going past the 56 percentage point, it does appear that if you're looking at what's happening across the country in terms of the national picture, 9 constituencies more remain outstanding. And that's where the hit has been for many of the political parties who believe that at least they can still make some sense of the 9 more constituencies remaining, trying as much as possible on the part of the NPP to show up their numbers, and for the National Democratic Congress to try and secure an overwhelming majority, way past the two-thirds, threshold in Parliament, so they could be the absolute majority and to run affairs in the legislature. So that's the picture in terms of the outstanding constituencies we're dealing with. These constituencies have more or less, at least we can reduce that to about 5 of them, that have become hotspots that we're dealing with. Ablekuma North is in that picture, but of course it appears that things are dying down now, looking at the latest declaration that we have on that very constituency and what's been happening there, because it does appear that it is turning green per the declaration that has been made. So if there's no challenge to Ablekuma North in terms of what the NPP candidate believes, then that indeed will go green, and that will spell, of course, the end of all the tension that we've been reporting across the country. And you see pictures there on your screens. But Ablekuma North has not been the only hot spot after the election today. But what we are also witnessing today as well has got to do with Dome Kwabena, where I was a couple of hours ago and earlier today, of course, when where I've been interacting with the parliamentary candidate for the New Patriotic Party in that constituency. This is by far the largest constituency in the country. But unfortunately, what used to be a safe haven for the New Patriotic Party is now becoming a green spot. Elikuli Makurugu was declared winner, but Michael Quay Jr. believes that he has some challenge with the declaration that was made, a reason for which this becoming a boiling point now with many supporters of the New Patriotic Party challenging the results and calling for a restart of the process. We're unclear if that will happen, but the chief whip on the NPP side in Parliament, I'm talking about Anodon Pre, has also been in the news with some very high tension within his constituency now, and so which is also at the center of the hot spots that we're putting our eyes on. 9 outstanding, but 2 more to go in terms of the 5 that we're looking at for the broader picture of what's happening across the country. So I have one noise also here. Techiman South is also here, but this is a familiar name because you all do recall that way back in 2020, not a good spectacle in Techiman South as well. That trend appears to be coming back, and these are the 5 flash points clearly out of the 9 outstanding that we can confidently say are becoming a hotspot. Blakema North may be out of the picture shortly, reducing all of that to 4 for us. But what's been the incident, and what's the manner, what's the format for the kind of incident reporting that we're talking about and the kind of casualties that we're reporting across the country? So let's give you a sense of what's happening. We should start off in the Ashanti region, which has significantly witnessed a low turnout in terms of the voter population. But there's still some little bit of tension there if you go to the Tepa area, for instance. Just after the declaration was made, cases of looting in NADMO offices, distraction of property. Then, of course, Sunyani is also not being spared as a result of the exercise. Attack on a Metroma staff. And in fact, that's trickling down to some parts of the Greater Accra region as well. We understand some people are trying as much as possible to block the auction of some vehicles that allegedly belongs to the transit. We're not too sure of what's happening there. We'll bring you some confirmation on that. Then you come to Ablekuma West, because that video has been trending ever since, with Esla Kufu's home being ransacked by allegedly some unknown individuals. The video circulating online seems to be pointing that to the NDC supporters. But that's not been confirmed. Of course, we'll check all of that to do for you here on PM Express tonight as we put that question to the leading figures of the NDC and the NPP as to who's behind possibly this very attack that we're learning of. But take a look at this. Damongo was a very shocking point because the EC office itself was set ablaze. And something we've not seen in a very long time as far as the elections is concerned here in the country, but it's beginning to happen. And just as we're learning of some more constituencies are also going with the same tone of what's happening in Damongo. Tamale has not been spared as well, but here's where the big casualty is in terms of the Wutusenya East, that happens to be another hotspot, fiercely contested election. That election is over in terms of the parliamentary level and the presidential. But at the parliamentary level, indeed, we have confirmed that things stand very sour, and one person has been confirmed dead, another injured as a result of the exercise. Then the second casualty was within the Nyankpala constituency or area, I should be saying, and Okaikwe South is also there. So tension has just been very high across the country, as we can confirm to you. Another incident of an EC office being burnt down in the Yensano constituency as well. So these are some of the issues happening, and of course that trending video as well of what's happening at the ports as we speak. The military, we understand, has been deployed just to deal with that. And that's why we're looking at all of the chaos that's been happening across the country and asking the question as to why the supporters of these political parties are going on rampage, attacking state installations. And how do we really put an end to it? Already some big figures, and the president-elect himself, John Mahama, has been speaking about this. I am Blessed Sugan. We tell you about my guests and the details after this, but listen to John Mahama.
I know that many of you are feeling frustrated and angry, but I ask you today, please do not give in to negativity and pessimism. There have been reports of acts of vandalism at some government facilities and installations. I urge you not to vent your frustration in criminal enterprise. We must channel our anger and frustration into the positive enterprise of resetting and rebuilding our nation.
Hello there, it's good to have you stay on with us here on your election headquarters. This is PM Express, and of course it's brought to you proudly by Syntex Tanks. It is strong, it is tough. Academic Times, of course, Peacebuilding cavity fighter toothpaste as well is on with us. And Academic Times, of course, the Academic Times Ghana is an incoming graphic and online publication aiming to collaborate with university authorities and students to ensure that student research is published in a summary form. Of course, Ghana, you need to get ready for the biggest giveaway from Syntex Tank. They are visiting 15 communities, giving them some free water. And this is to say, thank you, Ghana, for making us #1. Now, if you are a community and you want to benefit from the giveaways, the free giveaway in terms of water, just logging to their social media handles, that's Syntex Ghana, and nominate your community. And of course, you'd be on your way to be enjoying from a tough, a strong, and that's from the Syntex Tank team. Don't forget that every time we eat, food and sugar are trapped between our teeth as well, leading to some tooth decay, gum disease, and in some cases, foul breath. Brushing your teeth every morning and night with Peacebuilding Cavity Fighter gives you your teeth some level of protection that you need, leaving you with 10 times stronger teeth. Peacebuilding Cavity Fighter is fortified with some form of chemicals as well, and ingredients sealing those tiny holes within your teeth as well. So you, of course, would have to deal with that cavity fighter by choosing Peacebuilding, and that's why we're excited that they are with us on this journey on PM Express. But don't forget that we're focusing tonight on the unfortunate incidents that we're recording across the country, collation chaos, as you may want to describe it, and also the rampage and attacks on some state installations, which is prompting some call from the president-elect, John Dramani Mahama, who's urging supporters of the NDC and also from across the divide to choose peace after the 2024 general elections. But will this really be an end of that trajectory? Let me bring in now Professor Kwesi Enin, who's a security consultant, joining us via Zoom. Dr. Rashid Tanko Computer is the Deputy Director, Elections and also of IT for the National Democratic Congress. Haruna Mohammed, Deputy General Secretary of the New Patriotic Party, is joining us via Zoom. Albert Yeliang is National Network Coordinator for the West African Network for Peacebuilding, WANEP, also joining the conversation, and grateful to have all of you gentlemen for that timely intervention, of course, that we're about to see now, having to hear from you, the leading figures of these two main political parties. But I want to start off from in studio now, where Dr. Tanko is with us, fortunately, because the party has issued a statement. In the last few minutes, we've heard from the president-elect, John Mahama, of course, call for cool heads and also asking all those on rampage to desist from that act. But my attention has been drawn to the statement that was released by your party. You seem to be accusing the New Patriotic Party and some disgruntled members in there of being behind the attacks that we're seeing. Is that a fair, justification for what's happening across the country, Doc? Yeah,
very well. Let me say good evening to your cherished viewers and to you yourself and the good people of Ghana and the good people of Bimbila constituency. I mean, they did a very good job. Now, clearly, our intelligence is telling us that this is an orchestrated plan by our detractors, especially the heavily lost political party, to create a situation look like the NDC is a violent party. To create an environment where people think that the NDC is coming to perpetuate some kind of violence activities on them. Why am I saying this? We've observed critically when it happened yesterday, in fact the day before yesterday, shortly we were announced as winners of this contest. We realized that the state security, instead of them to carry out their mandate in making sure that there's law and order, are rather aiding those criminals. I'm saying criminal. Do you know the people are called criminals? Do you know what happened to one of the constituencies where an MPP MP lost? And the MPP party members went and attacked the house because the special aid to the MP who lost hoarded some of the materials they brought to come and distribute to their party people or to buy votes. Unfortunately, the gentleman hoarded it and they lost the election. So the MPP youth mobilized themselves, went and attacked the house. As we speak now, it's a serious matter. And remove air conditioners, fridges, and vandalize all the materials in the man's house. These are MPP tax. What has it got to do with NDC? Why are people silent about that matter? They are venting their anger. The same thing happened in Who. A DC has hoarded loads of these things, fertilizer, rice, and cooking oil in his residence. What was he keeping them for? To buy foods. The youth went there to vent their anger. These are not NDC youth. These are MPP youth. They attacked the place. And when the media went there, they told them that they are angry because their leaders did not help them. Why was he keeping those things when they needed it most for the campaign period and all that? So we are beginning to see a trend which shows that it isn't the NDC youth who are involved in this kind of thing. Because if you look at the party, when they went to their MP special aid house, they were taking fridges, air conditioners, and then other gadgets that they meant to use to buy foods. The same thing happened at Ho and Ho area. Then we've also seen similar one happening in Forestry Commission or where they went and carried another district assembly, was it Ableko or something like that? They were carrying fridges. The same style. The same style. That shows that something is behind this.
Dr. Sanko, is that all you've seen on social media?
I've monitored a lot of areas. And some of them, yes. For instance, the one which happened at the Ghana Gas episode. You know, there's one loud mouth at Ghana Gas who is supposed to be a public servant, also Bempa, used that office to attack the former president, say all manner of things about the former president. He forgot that he was working as a public servant. You remember the episode of the Airbus issues? When it came out, he was in the forefront, held press conference, lambasted the former president, said he was going to
What has that got to do with the attacks that is happening now?
Yes, you cannot be in that office. This is a state office. And do this kind of thing. The former president you were running down is now elected. He's currently the president-elect of this country. Okay? The youth, the anger in the youth cannot, you see, some of them cannot contain it. The kind of thing they did in 2016.
So this is an admission that it's not just an MPP problem, that some of your youth are also culpable. I am talking of the
looting. These people didn't go there to loot.
But it's still an attack on a state installation.
They went there. Their mission was to get him out from the police. He should go and rest and allow things to function. That was their mission. But
my point is, you agree with me
that
that's part of the scenes we do not want to see post-election 2024. So you admit culpability that some of your followers are equally culpable of the offense.
That's why I'm saying that. I'm saying that, yes, we agree that excesses has happened. His Excellency, the President, John Dramani Mahama, has called on them to restrain. Our General Secretary issued a statement, call on the youth. Look, they shouldn't vent their anger. We know the anger in them is too much. 8 years of looting. People just see them looting and stealing state properties. But because of state security, nobody could say anything. But right now, we've gotten power. And we're saying that they should hold on. Within 28 days period, power will be handed over to him. We will come after those people.
Okay.
So they should be patient enough. And so clearly, I am referring to the looting aspect. Those doing the looting, these are MPP people.
Okay.
Who are doing the looting.
But we need to be clear that you haven't adduced a single evidence on this.
I've just given you what.
Just to prove the point you're raising. But let's make progress. And joining us also is Professor Kosienin, who's been monitoring the trend. He seems very unhappy about what's happening. And Prof, the NDC now believes that it's not just their supporters, but some sort of a targeted attempt by the New Patriotic Party to cause disaffection for their party and their victory, I should say.
Well, thank you very much. Transition periods are always very dangerous, extremely dangerous, insecure periods. There's an outgoing government that is frustrated and bitter, and therefore might not be willing and prepared to take the decisive actions that are necessary. There's an incoming government that will take over power, smells the allure of power, but does not have power. And therein lies the indecisiveness that we are seeing. Last night, President-elect Mahama called this a criminal enterprise. What a criminal enterprise means is that multiple individuals or groups, totally different, coming from different angles, might have a particular interest at a particular time and opportunistically feeds on each other to cause chaos, and out of that, get some profit. So I'm not really interested in whether it's NDC or NPP. These are a bunch of criminals, and they must be dealt with as criminals with the full force of the law. If we fail to do that, and it expands to other parts of the country, there will be social upheaval, it will be infiltrated by fifth columnists, and by the time Mr. Mahama takes over in January, it will even spread much further. It's very easy to say these are vigilantes, these are X-party supporters and Y-party supporters. What we are seeing looks organized, looks planned, looks directed, and that is why we need the Ghana Police Service to move in there and deal with this decisively.
And since you're speaking about the Ghana Police Service, this brings into sharp focus the work of the National Election Security Task Force. Do you feel that they are becoming overwhelmed by, the pockets of violence spread across the country now?
No, it's always a problem for public policing, the level of appropriate force to be used. And particularly in an election period where there are sensitivities and sharp divergences, the police must be careful about how much force they use. But let me make this clear. A lot of the looting happening now has almost nothing to do with the elections. They are just exploiting this gap in decision-making that has diverted first the attention of the police to deal with legitimate election issues, and they've taken this opportunity to loot. Because if you look at the type of goods being stolen, yes, they are very specific, okay? And multiple groups are behaving in ways to create the impression that it is the other group doing it. So look, let's not play this ostrich in terms of making accusations. Those organizing behind these criminal, violent activities need to be dealt with. Thankfully, we have video evidence. We can expand them, identify the people involved, and we've got to get the judiciary to support this. quick decisions to serve as a deterrent. Otherwise, we are on a dangerous, slippery slope.
And it's about to yeah, and it's even getting much more tense in terms of what we're receiving in terms of reaction from the Ghana Armed Forces, for instance. They've put out a statement lamenting, the levels of attacks on, their security forces deployed to enforce election security. How can we tackle that in a manner that will not result in additional casualty? Because already we've lost 4 individuals per the sources that we're picking up. We don't want the numbers to go up because any provocation against the military might result in something that we do not want to see again.
Well, but let me also make it clear. In situations where the Ghana Police Service, which is the frontline agency for bringing discipline and order to what we have witnessed, is overwhelmed, they will naturally have to call for support. And I think part of the weakness here over the last couple of days is the failure in communication. I think the Security Task Force must consistently put out information to the public about what they are doing, appealing for extra intelligence and information to allow them to proactively intervene and to ensure that we don't see these pictures. Whoever has been arrested must be put before a court of competent jurisdiction and the toughest, judgments given, and also in the public informed.
Okay.
This must be nipped in the bud probably yesterday.
Right.
We can't afford another 24, 48 hours of this behavior.
I see. We've heard from the President-elect, John Mahama, asked President Akufo-Addo to deal with this matter by, deploying the security agencies to intervene. I want to put that to you, Haruna Mohammed, who's the Deputy General Secretary of the New Patriotic Party, because we've seen your candidate, the Vice President, call on President Mahama to act. But now the reverse is the case. He chairs the police council, even as vice president. So he's still in charge, isn't he? Let's talk about the remedial measures. Will the president be willing to act at this moment? And do you take responsibility as a governing party to have any form of responsibility over what's going on and how to solve it?
Thank you very much, Blessed. It's very unfortunate that we have gotten to this particular stage. And very unfortunate that my senior brother, Dr. Rashid Tanko, is turning the story around. First and foremost, I would like to say good evening to your cherished viewers and those who are following on Facebook. I think that the story behind all this is the training that is given to the two political parties. If you check the training that we have given to the members of the New Patriotic Party, that is not our character. This is not what we are known for. And for that matter, we are not associated with such particular disdain and vigilantism act that seeks to distract the democracy we have all labored for. You see, we have lost elections. The flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party, considering the peace, considering the nature, considering the environment in which we are, decided to come out and concede defeat ahead of the official announcement of the results. But then immediately that is done, you saw the NDC tax. Dr. Computer is aware of this. In Tamale, the NDC moved to the Tamale Teaching Hospital, took away 2 pickups, oxygen, and left. The police in Lamashegu got these people, arrested them, and picked these pickups and went to the Lamashegu police station and packed them. They went to Lamashegu police station, ransacked the place, and destroyed everything police.
Exactly why I'm looking for remedial measures now. The president-elect says it's the responsibility of the president. You're not out of power yet. The vice president is still the vice president. Remedial measures, any directive, to the IGP to act now?
Yeah, we've all seen what is happening. The IGP is absolutely sitting on the job. If it was before the election, you would have seen the IGP move on with cameras, move here and there and that. But the aftermath of the election, the IGP has went back to sleep.
This is quite an interesting point you're raising here. There's the issue of responsibility. The president chairs the National Security Council. He still has the constitutional power to order, to act. Why are you making these claims now?
The president chairs that, but the IGP is to report. The IGP is in charge. The IGP is the head of the Election Security Task Force. And if you bet it, look at if it was before elections, you would have seen the IGP in action. Look at the mood of the police when the NDC tasked the hoodlums went to destroy the police station. These people had the audacity to move to private people's warehouses and to destroy and pick items. Is that the change that the NDC promised the people of Ghana? Is that going to be a replica of what John Mahama will be doing in office? Are they going to be looting and sharing properties of state? These are properties of state. Look at the act of the NDC itself. Sam George had to go to a constituency you don't belong, coerce an EC officer. People were put under gunpoint to be able to declare results.
Okay.
This is not the Ghana we have.
Haruna, let's look for solutions.
You must be very careful.
Yeah.
You must be very measured.
I get how incensed you are. I get how incensed you are about what's going on across the country. We are all not excited about what's happening. That's why we're looking for solutions. You're still in power. You still have, quite a number of days until January 7th. Will the president act? That's the big question confronting you now. You're Deputy General Secretary of the NPP.
You read the statement issued by the General Secretary of our party. You read the statement, the outcome of 2024 general elections and the matters arising. We as a political party have the responsibility to call them out. Remember, political parties form government. And when you form government, you appoint people to hold the source on your behalf. And that is why we have the IGP, we have the Minister for Interior. And that is why when political parties go into elections with their people, you need to have a command over them. If you ask my brother, we have to call some of the national officers of the NDC to call their people to order before the General Secretary could issue a statement. We have to call them because the NDC will never be in power forever. Imagine we had called on our people, our youth to come out and defend and retaliate. Imagine the chaos. Remember, we are not cowards, but because of the peaceful nature of Ghana, we have one nation. And that's why the flag bearer came out to concede defeat.
Okay.
We needed to show leadership. The NDC needed to show leadership. And all that they are telling us is that they want to come and loot and share. And that is exactly what they are doing. He's talking about people going to warehouses, to places that they have hoarded items. Where would they hoard items? Items that have come in for drought, for people who have gone through this particular farming activity and lost everything. So do you think that the MPs or you think that the assemblies should have shared these items to parliamentary candidates? That was this assembly. The NDC hoodlums went there, took every single computer in that place.
Okay.
They went there. They have this Soko project. They have these tanks. They took everything.
I just need to point out.
Took the batteries of the district machines. This is what we are talking about.
Okay, yeah, I mean, and I need to point out that we have absolutely no way of verifying the claims you're putting out, just as Dr. Tanko also put out some claims.
If you ask your other media stations who are here,
this is something you, the two political parties, are doing tonight. But I want us to move forward to look at the solution. So let's do this, because there's also a bigger challenge for us now. The Electoral Commission may have declared that of the presidential elections, but there are 9 constituencies outstanding. That's why we seem to be having a challenge also as well. Blakemore North used to be very tense. We understand that we're making headway. The declaration has been made. So, yeah, there's some way forward now. 5 more areas we're targeting as a hotspot. Because all these areas do not have their results declared. Haruna, I'll come back to you shortly. Let me do this. Let's hear from Albert Yeliang, because he works with the West African Network for Peacebuilding. Damongo has been on fire ever since the parliamentary issues came up. You've been monitoring that up north. Albert, tell us about it, plus your take on what's happening across the country.
Good evening to everyone listening to you. I think that the development is quite unfortunate, and it appears that we are recycling things. Let's recall that this is not the first time things like this have happened, but it appears that the magnitude of it happening this year is something that we have not witnessed, and it's unfortunate. Damongo, yes, it's still tension. There is still tension there. It resulted in the military intervening besides the police, and we saw the burning that took place there over the collation of the results of both parliamentary and presidential. What I do understand is that eventually the presidential was collated, and I am yet to get some feed on the presidential, what the results are in
the parliamentary, you mean, yes.
But it's really, yeah, the parliamentary, sorry, yes. But it is very unfortunate that the situation will degenerate into such an extent where properties were burned down, properties belonging to the state. I think that much as people may have certain reasons for certain actions, it should not result into violence. It should not result into death. It should not result into the destruction and looting of properties. I mean, this is outright, not acceptable in any society. And it, of course, offends the law. And I think that the party leaders should call their supporters to order to eschew violence so that things can go on properly.
And this is why, you're very critical to the conversation now. You're critical to this conversation because the West African Network for Peacebuilding has an early warning system. Did you pick the signals, and do you feel that the security intelligence agencies should have picked this up, including the National Election Task Force, being spearheaded by the police service?
Yes, Damongo is one of the constituencies that we picked up, that there could be tensions in view of the highly competitive nature of the elections in there. You recall that, it's a seat that was taken over by the MPP, by the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, and then the competition became tense. Even before that, you recall the dynamics regarding relationship to chieftaincy and all that, and how then the opposition prepared strongly to come back and wrestle the seat from Abu Jinapo, Honorable Abu Jinapo. So it's one of the constituencies that we actually picked because there are several other layers of the political activity there, and we envisage that this kind of thing would happen, but not to the extent that it has happened. It's not the only constituency. There are several of such, including Ablekuma West, Kwabenya, and where Howard Kumson's constituency, including other constituencies in Upper West, that we thought that, and right. Of course, the entire Boku enclave, that we thought that there would be some tensions arising, Wale and all of that. So it's really unfortunate that there are several of these developments that we thought that after 2020, where for the first time we recorded about 8 deaths and prepared to work tirelessly towards preventing such recurrence. This year again, we have recorded deaths in the elections. That's very unfortunate.
Okay,
because after every year and under our democratic dispensation, we expect a certain level of civilization. And that's why sometimes when these things occur, then we get a bit, concerned.
In just a minute, tell me about how we can resolve this. We've heard from the NDC, we've heard from the New Patriotic Party. They don't seem to agree on who's behind this. I'm looking for solutions now. What's your recommendation to the security agencies or perhaps those responsible?
I think the security needs to be very stringent on this. And I would expect that the political parties, both the incoming party in government, and then the outgoing, should collaborate with the security and allow the security personnel or agencies to work as independent as they can, to make sure that all those who have been involved, because these are properties belonging to the state, lives have been involved, and we do not expect this to be recycling. And it's also about how we perceive this issue of winner takes all. I think that we are exaggerating it and we have misunderstood the spirit of the winner takes all. That very often, anytime there is a change in party in government, then we see the party coming in, appearing as though everything must come to a standstill. That is very unfortunate. Pro-poor government initiatives are usually the point where we have these wrestling between the political party youth in particular. But there is one critical thing that we need to be very mindful of, that much as these things are going on, the people are using guns, they are wielding weapons. Where did they get them? And to the extent that they can use these against individuals, intimidate and threaten other people, that is very unfortunate. The skill that they would possess or they possess, and then the weapons around them, what else can they do with that if they are no longer finding such opportunities to use them?
Interesting questions you're asking there. I want to put that to Dr. Tanko now, because you're coming into office. You've set up your transition team already. You've won. So why can't you rein in your supporters?
Well, you see, I'm sure you saw the transition team. The transition team is reassuring. It's given hope to the youth, because when you look at the list, clearly it's giving a direction that the president wants us to go. We are assuring the youth that, look, much as there's too much anger in them, the NPP is planning to water down our victory. The magnitude of the victory is so huge that since 1957, no political party ever chalked this kind of.
I don't think you're entirely being right.
That's the fact. That's the fact. Which opposition party in Ghana ever chalked this? Tell me.
Oh, you're talking about opposition party then? Okay,
that is it. Right. Opposition party, a party that has been in opposition for 8 years, organized itself and come and beat a ruling government to pulp. We've just disorganized them completely. They've been 56-point-something% and reducing their parliamentary margin to a paltry 85%. They don't struggle to get 85%. That's why they are doing all this problem they were talking about. The collation center, who is the call? It's the Electoral Commission. They were trying to connive with MPP2 and they steal some of the seats. And that's why they delayed the collation. Because if they had collated the results we started collating the results as early as 7. And by 11:30, we had collated 40,000 polling stations. And we knew the results that we had won. And an institution which is mandated to do collation, do you know the time they started collating the results? They started collating around midnight.
Okay.
So they created all this confusion and there's tension at the collation center.
So there's no doubt that you're in absolute majority now, 9 outstanding constituencies. But you're still asking your supporters to be at the coalition centers. It's creating a lot of tension. What's your directive to NDC members now? I believe that you've just come off from some meetings with leadership of the party. Are you still asking them to remain at these coalition centers, which is now a source of chaos now?
It's not a source of chaos.
Right.
Their presence there is helping us to watch this. You see, we know...
You're not asking them to leave?
Yeah, you see, we don't trust the Electoral Commission. You know it. We don't trust them. This Electoral Commission is one of the opponents we contested against during the election time. We were having 2 opponents that we're going to battle with. the Electoral Commission and MPP.
But your opponents declared you winner of the
of course, they
election.
have no option. Ghanaians have
just
voted
want to get that clear directive from you, Dr. Tanko. Are you asking your members to remain at the collation centres, or you're asking them now on live television to withdraw from the centre?
We didn't ask them to go into the peripherals of which they were doing the collation. We said they should go and stand about 100 meters. That's what the law says. 100 meters away from the collation centre and watch, keep vigil on these people. Because we left the collation centres in 2020, went and slept, having confidence in the security, the state security and other thing. They stole seats. They killed our people and stole seats. You know, they started the same modus operandi for this year. You counted how many deaths? About 3. Killed by which people? Is it not state security? Collation centre, open guns, open shots, and fired into them.
So you're not giving them a directive to leave?
We are saying that we've given them directive. They shouldn't disturb the inner perimeter where they are doing the collation. They can stand about 100 meters away from the place and watch, keep vigil.
Okay.
So that the right things are done. If the right things are done, we have no problem.
Dr.
Tanko,
we need to go. Let me give the final word to you, Professor Ainin. In 30 seconds, wrap up for me. Any final marching orders, perhaps, to these political parties on what they need to consider? Kindly unmute, Prof, so we can hear you. Professor Ainin?
Please watch your language, because your choice of words can inflame passions and can make things much worse. There are obviously problems with institutional processes of the elections. You've almost got two-thirds majority, and that majority imposes on the winning party, the NDC, a responsibility to govern with sensitivity in building and bringing the contact to create a stable, functional, democratic state that looks after everybody. Please tone down your choice of words, calm down all supporters, all parties, because what we need is to embellish our image as a country that can go through these difficult processes and emerge strong, functional, united. That is what this vote means. The resetting of the state and its institutions to perform effectively and to integrate us much better.
Grateful for your time, and just as I wrap up, I also need to point out that we are your election headquarters. Don't forget that in collaboration with CRS and the other partners, the National Peace Council, we stand for peace, and we're trending with the hashtag I choose peace. I hope you out there would also choose peace as we observe the transition period culminating in peace before, during and after the 2024 general elections. So if you're watching us on the Joy News channel, that's our plea to you. Thanks for watching PM Express. I am Blessed Sugan. We'll see you again. It's bye for now.